Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Talk Music Talk with Boyce. I am Boyce. This is my podcast, and you are listening, so thank you for that. Talk Music Talk is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long-form discussions with people who are connected to music, from singers and songwriters to music photographers and music journalists, music therapists, and on episode number 93, a very special episode. This is a live event, a taped live event that took place on July 22nd here in New York at Rockwood Music Hall, Stage 3, Lower East Side, with Samora Pinderhughes. This is it's going to happen. It's the first in a series of where I have, for an hour, people perform, a favorite artist of mine perform, and then I interview them live in front of a audience. And this was the first one. Great introduction to it. Let me tell you about Samora. Samora, I have actually interviewed him on the podcast earlier this year. A wonderful conversation that was split up into two parts, episodes number 78 and 79. And for this first event, I wanted to have somebody who excited me, who is singular, and Samora definitely fits the bill. He is a Bay Area native based here in New York currently, a graduate of Juilliard School of Music. He has collaborated with musicians like Branford Marsalis and Christian Scott. He's collaborated with the playwright and actor Anna Devere Smith, an amazing talent. This is an intimate setting. Just Samora on piano and vocals, performing music from his two projects, The Venus Project and The Transformation Suite. We discuss both of them. If you want more detail, definitely listen to episodes number 78 and 79. You don't have to listen to those first before you listen to this, so don't feel like you need to turn this off and then go back. You can listen to this and then go backwards. That's perfectly fine. He performs songs from the two projects. In addition to his performance, we talk about the artist's role in politics. We talked about being vulnerable in his music and being vulnerable live on stage in front of people. Two different things. It was also unique doing this in front of people. It was my first time performing and interviewing somebody in front of an audience. That's a totally different beast that I'm going to do again, but I definitely have to get used to it. It was different than being one-on-one with someone sitting in their home or sitting in their studio. So you have that there. This is a great conversation with beautiful, beautiful music. I can't say enough great things about Samora. Thank you to him for sharing his talent here on the podcast and within a small audience. And this music you are not going to hear everywhere in this way. So I feel privileged that he would even do that. This is a bar/club, so you are going to hear some stray background sounds here and there. Does not take away from the interview or Samora's performance. Here it is, in conversation with Samora Pinderhughes, live on Talk Music Talk. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Should I sit and be sexy or stand and be sexy? All right, I'll alternate between the two. I like this singing part. Okay. I like this. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. This is the first Talk Music Talk with Boyce in Conversation. I can't see, it's weird you can't see people's eyes. This is really true when they say that you can't see people's eyes. I started the podcast, a little bit about the show before I introduce my interviewee, which I don't like the name, but I'm using it anyway. I started this show because, one, I love podcasts, but also love music, and I thought, well, a great way to combine the two. But I didn't want to do those sort of drive-by 10-minute red carpet type interviews where you really don't learn anything about anybody. Like, what are you wearing? How do you feel tonight about being nominated? Like, that tells you nothing. I like the long form interview where you can talk to someone for like 45, 60 minutes and really get a sense of who they are. So I knew I wanted to do that with the podcast. And one of the things I get asked a lot, I just got asked this last night, how do you find guests? Sometimes it's through blogs. Sometimes it's through recommendations, but one of my favorite ways of finding people to interview is just going to shows. And this is one of my favorite places here, so it's wonderful to do my first show here at Rockwood. Great place. And I was looking on the website, just clicking through links as I usually do. And where do I look? So I was wondering, like, okay, where do I'll click on the link and I would find some guests. So I click on the link and I saw tonight's guest. And I said, I'll go to a show. So I go to a show. I come in maybe about a minute into the first song. And it was one of those moments, I'm going to talk about him like he's not here now. It was one of those moments where you're just like floored. Like, who the hell is that? What's he doing? And like the first song was amazing. Then the second song, you're like, okay, but he's still got like another 30, 40 minutes left. Can he keep that up? And he definitely did keep that up. And he was doing something from his Venus project, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and he'll do song selection from tonight. And then I met him afterwards, and I knew I wanted to have him on the podcast. He agreed to. Next night, I saw him perform at the Jazz Gallery, and he did a jazz trio, something totally different from what he just did the night before. And I'm like, okay, I definitely got to interview this guy. So maybe about a week later, I talked to him. Had a great interview. It was one of my longest interviews. Had to split it up into 2 parts because it was so intriguing and fascinating, talking about music and politics and everything in between. And I knew when I wanted to do the first one, I wanted to do this with him. Now, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of talented people. There's people, they get the right notes, right? They get the perfect chords. They got a 30 octave, right? They know 60 chords, but there may not be emotion. And we all know what I'm talking about. There's people who are very talented, and you're like, something's missing, right? So it's wonderful when there's an artist who combines the technique with both the emotion, and that is the artist tonight. He's going to perform an intimate solo set. We're going to talk afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, pianist, or is it pianist? Which is it? Or is that regional? Am I showing my Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh in the house, right? Pianist/pianist, composer, vocalist, band leader. Ladies and gentlemen, Samora Pinderhughes.
It's great to see all you guys. This is really a treat. I'm sorry. That did not happen. I'm really honored to be here for a few different reasons. Number one, I'm a big fan of Voices podcast. I think everything that he said at the beginning about really taking time in his interviews and having these really long-form conversations. When he approached me about that idea and wanted to have me be a part of it, I was really excited about that because I think that the relationship of the artist to the people that get to talk about the artist and whose job it is to do that is very complicated, and oftentimes we as artists don't really get a chance to really go in depth about our artistic process, about the things that we are endeavoring to bring into the world. And this music is very precious to us. It's kind of like our children. So it's really a treat when you find someone who wants to take the time to really unravel what's happening and to really respect and take care of and understand what it means and what goes into creating, So I'm really happy that I know somebody like Boyce who's trying to do that, and happy to be a part of this. And it's also just nice to play by myself. It's a very exposed environment, but it's cool. So that piece was an instrumental version of a song or a section of a song that is from my project called The Transformation Suite, which I've been working on for a long time. And that tune is entitled Cycles. And that music will be coming out later this year, so I'm really excited about that. Yes, thank you. So stay tuned. The rest of the music that I'm going to play tonight is going to be from this project, Venus, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I'm just going to continue. This is a song that's entitled Concrete. We're just a dot to the sea, just a tiny speck in the ocean. In this special place where we meet, I feel my hands being washed clean. Back to the place where I began. It's beautiful, isn't it? Back to the place where I began. It's beautiful. I try to keep my head in the clouds. Ground isn't as solid as I would have you believe. It seems to shake with the weight of every step that I take. No hurricanes, just earthquakes. No hurricanes, just earthquakes. Ooh. Born in a place filled with strangers. It's terrible, isn't it? Born in a place filled with strangers. It's terrible. Mama said, just do your best. But how do I know what that really means? Papa said, just reach for the stars. What does that mean? In a world of concrete, false lights, love lost, and lonely nights of half-truths, heartbreak and deadlines, mistakes like you, like you, like you, mistakes like you, like you, like you, mistakes. Mama said, just do your best. But how do I know what that really means? Papa said, reach for the stars. But what does that mean? In a world of concrete, false lights, love lost, and lonely nights of half-truths, heartbreak and deadlines, mistakes like you, like you, like you, mistakes like you, like you, like you. don't go. Stay the night. I need you by my side. I don't know how to hide all these memories and stay alive. Please don't go. Stay the night. I need you by my side. I don't know how to hide all these memories. Please don't go. Stay the night. I need you by my side. I don't know how to hide all these memories and stay alive. Please, please don't go. Stay the night. I need you by my side. I don't know how to hide all these memories. Please, please don't go. Stay the night. I need you by my side. I don't know how to hide all these memories and stay alive. Please don't go. Stay the night. My side, I don't know how to hide, how to hide all these memories, all these memories. I just realized that all these songs are like lightweight dark. So I don't want you to think that's like all the things that I write, but that having been said, you know, I guess this is what I have to offer at this moment in my life. So I hope that's okay. I'm gonna play something. You got me on the time check? I want to make sure that we have time to talk.
Sure.
One more short one? Okay, cool. That's what's up. There's some things that I don't want to admit, so I try not to think about it. There's a lot of ugly things in my heart, and I just hope to the Lord I don't slip. I wonder what it's like to let it out, that part of me that I'm so afraid of. It holds on me and tosses me about. It doesn't seem to be something I get away from. How do you name those well-kept secrets that you never say out loud? And why does the body see demons that keep me from calling out? I guess I just say it's a process, one day at a time. There have been weeks when I already lost it, but I came back every time. There's a whole entire world that I created in my mind, but it's so much more real than the one I see outside. I've populated it with people who can see that I'm no good, and who know all the best places that I can go to hide. And I'm haunted by the death of my best friend, who just left me to head to the next world. But I like to believe it's the West End, with a room full of art and his best girl. And it's positive that I can feel him, but I don't know if I took advantage of the times he was right in the next room, cause my pain was such I couldn't stand it. Tell me, how do you name those well-kept secrets that you never say out loud? And why does the body see these demons but keep me from calling out? I guess I'll just say it's a process, one day at a time. There have been weeks when I already lost it, but I came back every time. When you ask me what's wrong, you might think I don't hear you, but that's not the case. I just might not respond, I don't want to be near you, cause I'm so ashamed. I'll keep the TV on and just let it wash over all of these many fears, and hope I wake up less weary tomorrow morning. Yes, I hope I wake up less weary tomorrow morning. Oh, please tell me I'll wake up less weary tomorrow morning. Well, I guess I'll just say it's a process, one day at a time. There've been weeks when I already lost it, but I came back every time. And I'm just trying to keep my faith, but I'm looking for more, somewhere I can feel safe. And in my holy war, you know I'm trying to keep my faith, but I'm looking for more, somewhere I can feel safe. In my holy war, I guess I'll just say it's a process, one day at a time. There've been weeks when I already lost it, but I came back every time. Yes, I came back every time.
That was amazing. Samora, I think there's some blood on this stage. Which leads me to wonder, what is it about artists that go for the emotional and the sad quotient? What is it about? Because I know when I have my album, my mother saw the lyrics, and she's like, why are the lyrics so sad? What is that about?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I mean, I think it's just, a reflection of where people feel the truth lies, and I think in certain ways it might be, well, for certain people, I think, myself included, it might almost be like kind of a cop-out, because it's at least for me, it's like just easier to write that way, because those are the ways that I analyze truth. Those are the things that I think about. But I don't know. I think in order to answer that, you probably have to go deeper into like the artist's psyche and what. I mean, I've noticed that it does tend to be the people that gravitate to those forms and to being artists like tend to be of a certain disposition, I guess. And be more sensitive. I guess that's the way that I would say it. And not like in a way of, everybody's sensitive, but in a way of just like feeling everything a lot, because that's kind of our job.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be a lot, But I think it's a trade-off, because at the same time, it's like, it's a gift to be able to work out those things. And my hope is that, and the pieces of art that I love are like this, that it doesn't feel like it's just like it's a performance art piece thing where you're just watching this person work it out. That's not really a giving thing.
Yeah.
But my hope is that it is also cathartic for other people, because, we all go through a lot of the same things. So that's my hope for what the work would do.
Well, is there a place you have to go to be able to perform those songs in public? Because this is the third time I've seen you perform. Has that changed from the first time I saw you perform upstairs to now?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I think you get more comfortable with certain things as you just keep performing them. So things, I guess you just get used to it. Okay. But it still is difficult, certain things, presenting certain things. But I don't know, I'm a weird person in that I find it a lot more difficult to divulge those kind of things in a one-on-one conversation with somebody I care about than in front of hella people I don't know. So
I think that makes sense. Yeah, because people said to me, like, why would people talk to you for an hour and tell things that they normally won't tell? And I know there's some sort of like release in writing that kind of music and performing it in front of an audience.
I think I thought it would be. It's not. It's not. No, just to be honest, I definitely thought it would be. And it is in the moment, but I don't think it really has to do with the audience. Although it is really satisfying to see or hear or feel your work resonate with people, because that's the job. That's what you're going for. So when that happens, it is a very satisfying feeling. But I do think that with some of the more difficult things that I deal with, that I maybe might put into song and stuff like that, I definitely thought that process would alleviate me of some of those things, but it didn't. Didn't do that. But it was I think for me the thing that was most helpful was the process of writing, even more than the presentation. But I will say that the presentation does give me courage, you know, and I think that's something I would like to have, you know. So I think I get it as more as I put myself out there. You have to do that.
What do you see? How do you see the difference between the two projects, the Venus project and then the Transformation Suite?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see them as two like completely different things. Like I almost was at, I mean, that's part of the reason that I talk about it as Venus. And I've had conversations with a lot of people about this that originally I really didn't even want to like use my name connected to it at all because it was almost like an alternate persona thing to me because it feels like such a different thing. But that having been said, like you said, I'm really into a lot of different stuff. So in the end, it didn't really make sense to do that because then I would just be like 7 or 8 different people in 2 years and people would be confused. But I mean, the Transformation Suite is something that's a lot more, I guess I would call it a lot more macro, you know, like, I mean, that project is specifically about the history of African diaspora protests, so that's like a very specific thing, and it is through me. I mean, I did write, you know, a lot of it, I collaborated on it with other people as well, but I will say, like, you know, it's not necessarily about me. It isn't about me, you know. For me, that project is a community project. And throughout the process of it, I have tried to continue that. So whenever we perform it, it's always new people on stage. Everybody that's like, you know, when we shoot videos or when we make more content for the piece, when we perform it in public, like, we do something different every time. We bring hella people in. Yeah. Whoever's down, like, I'm like, come through, you know. And whenever we perform it in different spaces, we try to incorporate those spaces, whatever activist work, organizing work is happening there, we try to incorporate it into the piece. So for me, that piece is about community. And whereas, you know, Venus is like a intensely personal project. That was actually, I'm a lot more used to doing the former than the latter. This is the first time I've ever done something like that. So yeah, it's different. It feels really different. Also, the first time I've ever sang on a project, or actually period. So that is also very different. But I guess that's what I would say. I mean, they do, right now in this particular moment, they're overlapping a lot more than I would like them to overlap because of everything that's happening in the country is just affecting all of us very personally, as it always does, but it feels like a lot more intense right now.
Because you're very political.
I'm very political.
People don't know that.
I mean, everybody is very political.
Yes.
Some people just don't talk
You're
about it.
actively political.
But I'm very out there,
And how, we've talked about this in the interview, that came about from your parents.
Yeah.
His parents. And how do you keep furthering that politics into the transformation? That's one way, right?
Yeah, well,
what is the message you want to send? Like, what do you want to say to people about your politics?
What is the message?
Yeah,
there's not one message. There's so many different things. There's a host of different things, and I mean that question in and of itself is very complicated because that goes into what the artist's role is and what that space is like. I mean, for me personally, I don't think that it's enough to just talk about things, even to make work about it. I think if you're not actively organizing, if you're not planning, doing something that's putting yourself on the line, you're not really about it. You know, other people will say different things, and I respect that too. And I do think making work about those issues is also important. But I think I try very actively to be involved in a lot of different ways. I mean, I'm a member of this organization called Blackout for Human Rights, so we do a lot of program, pieces, both in terms of creating content, but also doing community programs. Our Justice for Flint thing that we did in February, where we raised money for the community, did a community concert out there with a lot of different artists. and I'm also, I also try to be a part of whatever organizing is going on the ground, which we could talk about for a long time.
You can speak on that.
I mean,
like 9 minutes. Just
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how much we have very little.
9 minutes.
All I'll say about that is, as far as the suite goes and organizing goes, like, this is the moment, for everyone to be involved. The place that I would start for people who are wondering where to start would be the Movement for Black Lives. They're rolling out this week like a very important platform with a set of agenda points, of demands, and also there's uprising going on around the country, and we see in just everything that's happening there with this crazy RNC, whatever that you want to call that, just everything, it's like, it's getting to the point where I think before, like, people could choose to be in it or not, but now we can't.
And the music. Okay, so if someone isn't actively doing that, like, and they do protests or however they do it, how else can they go about it? Like, is it less than, or the artist is less than if they aren't actively doing something?
No, I don't think so. I think just what I find is that it's an indicator of consistency. That's how I would put it. I don't think that just the concept of just an artist just making work is the thing something I have an issue with or something. Mm-hmm. I just find that there's a lot of people that will just do a song like once and then be like, I'm super whatever, and that for me is not real.
One song.
That having been said, I'm just roasting on people right now. I don't mean to do that.
We've mentioned no names.
I just, I think for me, and this is the way that it is tied, I guess, to Venus. For me, one of the concepts that I'm trying to examine the most is risk, right? And so I think when we talk about activism, when we talk about what that means, what it means to be involved, there's a lot of things that people can do that are really safe, that are really easy, and those things are okay too, but they're not enough. For me, personally, if I see that, I'm like, no, you're not doing enough, And for me personally, if I were to be just doing that, I would feel, I grapple with that constantly. But I do think that the artist has a very important role to play as far as being first of all, like I said, the kind of bastions of truth, hopefully, good music. Paul Robeson said artists are civilization's radical voice, right? So I think that is still true, that we have to have music, we have to have film, those things shape culture, they shape narrative, they shape how people live. And so they are very important. And one of the things that I'm excited about in this moment, beyond the amazing organizing happening, is that more and more art is being made that's contributing to this moment as well. So I'm definitely not again. I'm not trying to.
Have you always been like in sense of doing the active part, or was it just for the music this was coming through?
No, my parents are not musicians, and they're educators and activists, community organizers. So that space was a lot more when I came out of the music. Actually, it just happens that me and my sister gravitated to music. But I always knew that was kind of the space I was coming out of more than I was coming out of music. So I always kind of knew that was important for me personally.
I'm trying to stay cool. I'm so cold. I'm sitting up here trying to act more. That's off topic.
Also, I've never done this before, and it's funny because it's like we're having a conversation, but there's people. So how are you guys doing?
We have to do this to actually see people. How are we on time?
Oh, that's funny.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you. Well, you can talk about the Transformation Suite. It's coming out October.
Yes, October 12th.
Anything you can say about it? October 12th?
What can I say about it?
Yes.
Yeah, there will be lots of things coming out. I can't announce them yet until they're out, but I would just say for more information, go to transformationsuite.com or just find, be connected to my social media, which is where I post a lot of things and keep people updated.
Social media stuff.
Yeah, at Samora Abayomi on Twitter and at Samora Pinderhughes on Instagram. But I'm really. It's a very bittersweet concept because we've been working on this project for 6 years, so that's a long time for a record, and it's very difficult and unfortunate how relevant it is and how we really didn't have to change like almost anything, and it feels like we made it yesterday because everything is still going on. That having been said, my hope is that it can be used for service, for movement work, in however way people want to use it, as fortification, as spiritual healing, whatever, that is my hope about it. So we'll see in October what happens. And there will be material coming out before that. I think that hopefully the first single will be out by the end of the month on... I can't actually announce where it's going to be. But just look for it.
Soon. And Venus, is Venus going to be recorded?
Venus is a brand new project. We've been doing it for like 2 months now. The show that you saw at Rockwood 1, Stage 1, was the first show that we ever did of the project. So we will be recording it, and I would like to say I'm really blown away by the support that we've gotten for the project. Honestly, that show was supposed to be the only time I ever played any of that music, because I was terrified. But because the fact that any of that music is ever going to come out is only because of other people who have said you should do this. So I really appreciate that, and we'll be recording at the end of the year, but it probably won't. We'll have something for the end of the fall.
Cool.
We'll see.
Anything you want to add?
No, this is great. Thank everybody for coming out.
Sure. So,
good time.
The website again, Transformation Suite, or Suite?
Transformation Suite, yeah, with 2 S's.
Okay, talkmusictalk.com. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Thanks to Rockwood, Armando, Matt, and Nate, and everyone else. Have a good night. Samora Pinderhughes live and in conversation here on Talk Music Talk at Rockwood Music Hall. The Transformation Suite out October 12th. The website again, transformationsuite.com, and that's transformations with an S. As for me, you can find me online at talkmusictalk.com. thisisboys.com, where you can check out my music and my novels. And if you are on Instagram, follow me at thisisboys. If you would like to hear those past 2 conversations with Samora, number 78 and number 79, may I suggest you download the new Talk Music Talk app. That's right. The podcast has its very own app. When you download it, you get every single episode. That includes the back catalog and new episodes every week in your feed automatically. It is available for iPhone and Android, wherever you get your apps at, like iTunes or the Google Play Store. Within the app, you can download individual episodes. You can also star your favorite episodes. You can share shows on social media and email them directly to your friends and family. After you download the podcast, this app, this Talk Music Talk app, please leave a rating and a review to help spread the word to get people talking about Talk Music Talk. Thank you so much for checking this episode out. Till next time, and there will be a next time. This one's for you, Liz.